what's going on, guys? Dan Watson, learningcameras.com, and here I've got the Canon 80D. Now this was a great camera for me. I used the Canon 70D. I reviewed it, many of you saw that, and that camera was one that had a couple issues for me, but I ended up purchasing the camera. I shot many of my YouTube videos, so you've probably seen the results of it on this channel. But now we've got the Canon 80D, and there's a lot of new things to like about this. There have been some changes to the body, an overall change in the sensor, and then also some of the features on the camera. So let's take a look and see what this new camera can deliver. Now, again, we've got all of the raw files as well as some clips from the video available at the website learningcameras.com. So hit up the link below and check those out. You can download those. It won't have any compression on them, and you can edit the files yourself and see what they're really able to deliver. Also, if you want to keep up with the little things that are going on here, check out the Facebook channel and Instagram, also on Twitter, so you can check out the links below for that as well, and like the Facebook page, and then you'll be able to see kind of some of the behind the scenes things that we're doing and the small stuff that's going on. I can't always make a full video on the stuff going on, so that's where you're going to see all of that other information. So again, after that, let's take a look and see at this new Canon 80D and what it's able to do. Now, overall design is almost identical to the previous model. There have been some very, very little changes. Again, you still have your flip out screen. It's changed slightly. It feels a little bit different in the hand. The biggest difference is actually going to be on this side where all of your ports are, and there's some awesome improvements if you're a video shooter. You now have your mic and your headphone jack further out to the side, and that means that if you're using the LCD screen, which I would normally do in this orientation, you can actually fully rotate this screen and still not hit where your ports are plugged in. So if you plug a microphone or headphone jack plugged in, that's going to be an awesome thing for you. Also, you're going to notice that that headphone jack is now there. It was not there before, so this is really putting this camera into some serious competition for the video market. And for photos, pretty much everything else is going to be the same as most of your Canon cameras. It feels good. It looks good. I can't complain at all. The body has a nice heft to it. It's not as small as some of the other cameras, but it just has a good solid feel without being too overly heavy and just large. I love that Canon has given us a touchscreen in this model, and it works very well. Another thing that they have done very well is that these D-pads and scroll wheels are both integrated, and it's very easy to scroll and to still use this D-pad and get some of your settings and selections. Here's the only thing I will say is that instead of being a 4-way joystick, this is actually an 8-way joystick, and hitting on those angles, if you're wanting to hit those, is very easy to do. Instead of hitting up, down, left, right, it's very easy to get those angles, and I wish they just stuck to a normal 4-way joystick on that one. It would have been a little bit nicer. However, the scroll wheel is nice, and it makes it a lot easier to do than something like the Sony A7300, which definitely struggles in the ergonomics on that D-pad. So let's talk about photographers for a moment with this camera. This is up against the Nikon D7200, which is a great photography camera. It was one of the weaker areas in the previous model that was going up against the Nikon. The Nikon honestly had some more features and some better build quality and things of that nature, and just the sensor being overall a little bit better, that was keeping this from really competing with Nikon in that category. Well, I'm happy to report that the sensor is new and it's definitely improved. The dynamic range is much better. I can boost the shadows and not see some of the horrible things that I was able to see on the other previous model cameras. You had banding and moire and all kinds of stuff going on in those shadow areas, and now they look nice and clean. So definitely about up to the standard that we're getting from Nikon. The colors on Canon are definitely top notch, and it's something that we've been used to for a while. So having that dynamic range there paired with the great colors and contrast from a Canon camera is nice to see. The low light results have also been improved in this model. I'm able to eke out about 1600 to 3200 ISO before I have an issue. 6400 ISO is definitely usable, but for me it's just a little bit grainy. I'd prefer to keep this in the 1600 to 3200 range. Now compared to the competition, that's not bad at all. It's certainly not better, but it will hold its own against many of the new cameras out there. We also have a new autofocus system, bumping it up to 45 points, and they're really good. It's all across the frame. We definitely have a more advanced autofocus system than was in the previous model, and that's nice to see. This is really going to compare with some of your higher end cameras, and you're getting a feature set of some of the higher end. Autofocus performance in this camera is great. Had no trouble keeping up and locking on my subjects. It really is a solid camera for photographers, even for moving subjects. Now, if you're someone who likes to use live view and actually use the screen on the camera rather than the viewfinder, this is where the Canon 80D becomes the definite camera to purchase for you. Overall, it is the only camera that I trust using the live view for. It works unbelievably. You have your touch screen there. The autofocus performance is great thanks to the dual pixel autofocus system. This is where the Canon 80D really steps ahead of virtually every other camera on the market today, and even many mirrorless cameras. So if you're someone who likes to use that screen to be able to compose or shoot and not just the viewfinder, this is definitely the camera for you, and I would highly recommend it even over the competition. Now when it comes for video, one of the reasons that I've highly liked this camera for video is because of that live view sensor on there and that dual pixel AF system. It makes this camera a joy to use for videographers. You can just tap anywhere on the screen and you're going to get probably the best autofocus system inside of any camera on the market today for video. The nice thing too is you now have your flip out screen that is also touchscreen, all of your ports that you could want on there. It really is spec-wise something that's going to compete with many of your other higher-end cameras on the video market today. Now we're still stuck at 1080p, but it does get it to 60 frames per second. Now unfortunately when it comes to quality, that's where the Canon 80D really falls behind some of the competition. It's not that it's bad, it's still the best Canon on the market today, probably that we're seeing from any of their cameras, even some of their full-frame cameras, or DSLRs I should say. It still lacks compared to the competition. We're seeing better image quality from Panasonic, from Sony, and even Nikon in many ways. Many of them are using the full sensor to be able to get a full pixel readout of that, and I don't believe Canon is. And because of that, the video just doesn't look as crisp and sharp as what we're getting on other models. Also, we're still not seeing 4K on any of Canon's DSLRs other than the 1DX Mark II. And so Canon is still failing behind the competition when it comes to Panasonic and Sony, and even now Nikon that's bringing 4K into many of its under $2,000 cameras. And so this is definitely an area where Canon is having some competition. Now that said, the advantages of having such a great touchscreen, great ergonomics, you have your headphone port, and you also have 1080p. So if you're good with 1080p, this might not be a bad camera for you. There's nothing else that's going to compare when it comes to autofocus. So it's just something to consider, but overall, the quality is just not there compared to the competition. There are definitely a lot of things to like about the new Canon 80D. It is better than any previous model. It's definitely a step up from the previous model as well, and it compares a little bit better to some of the competition. The nice thing about Canon is there are some things that this camera does that nothing else on the market does, and the primary reason for that is going to be the dual pixel autofocus system that's going to blow away any DSLR in live view or movie mode shooting, and it really competes with even the best of the mirrorless cameras on the market today, and you're still going to get that optical viewfinder. So if autofocus, especially in live view or even shooting in live view, is important to you, this is definitely going to be the camera to beat for those people out there. Now compared to cameras like a Nikon D7200 and also even the 5500, this is going to be an interesting camera for you. It's not going to exceed them in image quality, but it's going to offer you similar performance with some of the other features out there. The Nikons still have a bit better control, I believe, for photo shooters out there, offering dual pixel or dual card slots and some other things that some of the pros might like. But overall, the Canon definitely offers some competition. However, Canon has been a little slow on updates, so this might be the camera that we're dealing with for 2 to 3 years from Canon, and Nikon has some time definitely to catch up. For video shooters, Canon again offers some excellent ergonomics, great autofocus, all of the ports that you would need, the touch screen. It is overall a good camera to use. I enjoyed using it for video shooting, and it really pulled off the job nicely. It's pretty good in low light also, getting between 1600 and 3200 ISO with great looking images, and only going to 6400 is where things start to deteriorate a little bit. The problem is we're still dealing with that muddy footage from Canon, and so definitely if the footage is what's important to you, you might want to consider your other options from Panasonic and the Sony a6300 even. I've got the Sony a6300 here. I'm shooting this with a Panasonic G7, so you can kind of compare the difference between those. You can also check out the reviews on those cameras as well. But the Canon is just not up to the competition when it comes to the video quality. But don't just take my word for it. Head to the website, download the actual files for this. I want you to be able to shoot and see and edit those files and see if this camera is really going to be good enough for you. For me, it's definitely something I would consider. It doesn't give enough over the competition except for those areas with live view shooting and autofocus during live view and video. So those are really the primary reasons to get this camera over the others. I wish that we were seeing a little bit more from Canon on the quality side to really start blowing away some Nikon and Sony sensors out there. It's definitely caught up, but we're just not exceeding it. And also for video, we're still behind when it comes to quality. So it's definitely something that Canon needs to work on this. However, it is definitely better than the older model and offers some serious competition. So you can check out the links below, head to the website and purchase these. Links for B&H are below. So definitely check out the camera, and if you want to purchase, we appreciate you using those links. So let me know if you have any questions. Again, hit me up on Facebook and also in the comments below if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them for you. And so thanks for watching. We got a lot coming soon, so stay tuned.